Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 1 p.m. here in Chicago, Illinois, and it's time for another live stream. Today is Tuesday, March 22nd, 2022. Oh, that's a lot of twos. March 22nd, 2022. Welcome, everybody. I know that normally Tuesdays we do trivia, but over the weekend, my kids baked me a cake. I mean, with a lot of my wife's help. They baked a cake and it says congrats on it. And they put the word congrats like too close to the edge. So I had to word wrap a little bit. And they used their piping bags to make rainbows and also a little runner dude on the cake. So I'm going to call it a PR cake. And yesterday we did have a little bit of it for dessert, or a lot of it for dessert, but I thought, you know what? That's something I need to be eating with you guys today too. So we'll have double mukbangs for this week. And today we're going to have some PR cake. But first, let's say hi to everyone listening on the audio only version on the podcast. Hopefully you guys are having a good run out there today. Hopefully you guys are staying dry. Here in Chicago, it is like cold and wet, and I'm definitely missing that California sunshine right now. I'm wishing I had some of that really nice weather, because I don't know if I could go for a run today, but I think maybe like tomorrow or Thursday, I might want to kind of just maybe walk a little bit faster than I've been walking a little bit. And it'd be nice if there was some nice weather. But if it continues raining, I'm just going to take it as a hint from the universe that I should just keep recovering a little bit more. Because after all, I do have another race coming up in 2 weeks. It's not going to be like an A race for me, certainly, but I'll be over in DC for the Cherry Blossom 10 miler. Hopefully I can see some of you guys there. Also, everyone listening in on watching on YouTube after the fact, hopefully you guys are having a fantastic day as well and are at the end of your day now and are able to just kind of like unwind a little bit. Maybe you got a recovery beverage. I've got some afternoon coffee to go with a little bit of this cake. Now, before I get into it, I am going to say hi to everyone in the chat. Luis is here, says, yo, what's going on? Sorry, Mike, for not giving you a heads up on the tamarind treats. Should have warned you about the seed. I think it was funnier that way. I thought it was just going to be like a big kind of like clump, something like kind of like pressed together. So I wasn't expecting the treats. I didn't think it was going to be like kind of like a pastry. It felt very heavy, you know, so I knew like something was going on in there. I wasn't expecting the seeds. That was a surprise, because I don't think I've never had tamarind quite like that. So it was a nice treat and a fun surprise. And I definitely appreciate all the treats from yesterday. Sean says, hey, everybody, snazzy cake. And he gives a little wave emoji. It looks like they even got the GoPro in my hand. Yeah, she did. She said she drew the GoPro with a piping bag. So it's like pretty amazing. And then they like studded the outside with just colors. I mean, we have so much food coloring in our house because the kids always love to put food coloring in everything. So like the last time I made pancakes, we made just regular pancakes with no food coloring in it. It's like the first time I've had pancakes that were not dyed a special color in a really, really long time. So there's just all sorts of frosting on the cake. And the thing is, I don't really even like frosting, and they know that. But, you know, this kind of cake, it's technically for me, but it's not really for me. It was for them to have some fun doing some baking with mom over the weekend. All right. Mark's here. It says, hello all. Happy Tuesday. And Cody says, did the mukbang switch to Tuesdays? No, we're just doubling up for today. So there we go. Jennifer M says, just watch Flores' video. So beautiful to watch Kofuzi struggle and complete the marathon. I saw that he posted it. I still haven't had a chance to watch it yet. And definitely I'm looking forward to seeing that. I've been working hard on trying to get the race recap video done. It's very long, so I'm trying to cut it down from like the original unedited length is like 38 minutes, 39 minutes. I'm like, that's way too long. So we'll see how much I can cut it down, because I just think there's a lot of stuff that doesn't need to be in there, maybe stuff that can fit in another video, you know? So I'm trying to work on that, and it's just been taking so long. Plus, I'm still like just exhausted. So I find myself like kind of working and then daydreaming a little bit, and just not even daydreaming, just zoning out. So we'll get to all that stuff soon. I'm like behind on everything, but you know, that's kind of how things go, I think. All right. Let's see. JD said, if I knew you were running, I'd have baked a cake. Great job, girls. Yeah, the cake looks good, and it was really tasty yesterday. Sue Ann says, hey, everyone. And Adam says, I am California dreaming on such a winter day. Yeah, it is chilly out there today. All right. Let's get to the cake. So I'm going to slice, I meant to have a piece of it sliced and ready to go. Because like slicing a cake on camera is going to be hard for me to show you any, but I'm just going to slice it right now because I didn't get to it earlier. And I'll show you guys the cake once I get it onto the plate. Yeah. So it is, at least they did make it like my favorite kind of cake, which is just like a chocolate cake. Just plain chocolate sheet cake is like my favorite kind of cake to have. And they did I think they did like one batch to two cake molds or cake pans. And it's double layer chocolate cake, some frosting in the middle, and then you could see that like they put all sorts of like decorations all along the outside. So yeah, it's all just buttercream. That's sometimes I wish like we could make the frosting taste different flavors. I think the only time my wife ever does that is when there's like a chocolate frosting. But this is all just regular frosting, buttercream that is dyed different colors. But here you go, guys. Cake. Cheers. My wife makes a really good cake. It's a very simple recipe. I've tried making it before too, but cake is one of those things where it just tastes so much more delicious when someone goes to the effort of making it for you. It's the thoughtfulness that makes it more tasty. All right, we got Eric here says, "Hey, Co and Co. Mike, congrats on an incredible effort and Marathon PR. Incredible work, man. We are proud of you." Thanks so much, Eric. Thank you very much. It was a lot of work. I had a lot of help all along the way and throughout the race as well. So it's not something that I did by myself, but yeah, it definitely feels good to be able to like bring home not the best result for you guys, but a good result for you guys. So I'm feeling really good about that. All right. Let's see. We got Lewis Cameron says the cake looks amazing. It's pretty tasty. The only thing I don't like about cake is that there's always too much of it. The girls, like the size of a cake, like when you bake a cake, it always makes too much cake for our family. I mean, I guess maybe like once my girls get a bit older and they'll eat more cake, but anytime they make cake, I always end up eating a lot of cake. And cake's nice. It's a nice treat, but I don't love to eat a lot of it. So I wish there was a way that I could make like half the amount of cake. But every time I suggest that, I feel like a total fun hater when I do that. It's like, I don't want to sell it. I only want to have celebration, So it seems always kind of like a bit of a downer to suggest less cake. But I'm going to be eating a lot of cake over the next several days. Regan Dugan says, "Hey everyone, unexpected half day in Baton Rouge thanks to some crazy weather coming in soon. Well, I hope you guys are staying safe and hope it's nothing too bad. I know I've seen some video from storms coming through Texas last night and it looked absolutely terrifying. So hopefully that's not the same things that you're getting over there, Regan." David Kelly says, "Thanks, congrats on the PR, thank you." And Diaz 4815-62342 says, "Hello with a wave and congrats on the PR." Thanks so much, Diaz. All right. Jenfries M says 7 a.m. in New Zealand. Good morning, everyone. Well, good morning to you too. All right, I'm gonna scroll down a little bit, but there is a cake question up here, so I'm gonna hit that first before I scroll down. Cody says, "Not a big fan of frosting either." See, like I'm not a big fan of frosting. Cody, you're not a big fan of frosting. My father-in-law also not a big fan of frosting. So like usually he'll like scrape all of his off. I still will just kind of eat all the frosting unless it's like really, really excessive. So I'll still eat the frosting, but he'll scrape it all off. So like there's a handful of us out there that don't love the frosting. But Cody asks, "Would you rather just eat a plain cupcake with no frosting than one with frosting?" I would like to eat one with just like a little bit of frosting. You know what I like to do? I don't like to do it because it seems really unnecessarily like just seems like a lot of work to do it this way. But when I do see people take the cupcake, like rip it in half and then put the bottom part on the top and make a frosting cake sandwich, that basically to make it look like a piece of cake. Cake, frosting in the middle. I feel like that is a good ratio of cake to frosting. That's like enough. All the stuff that's on the top and on the sides, that usually for me is like, oh, this is too much, But I would say of all the cakes, my favorite cakes are ice cream cakes. Like the kind that you get at the store or like from the ice cream shop. And the frosting in the middle is like, I think it's a little bit of frosting, but there's like cookie crumbles inside, whatever that is. That is the most delicious kind of cake, in my opinion. I love that kind. All right. Adam says, I rode my trainer yesterday and again today after my half on Sunday. Biking is a great way to break up scarring and pump healing blood through the leg muscles without the gravity load. I was thinking about maybe I'd go for a ride today, but I'm like, it's kind of early. I'm having a hard time just moving around. And only just this morning have my toes felt like they would tolerate being in shoes again. So I was thinking about it, but I'm like, I'm going to just fully rest for 2 days. Tomorrow, I think I'm going to probably hit the bike, depending on what the weather does. I think it's supposed to rain until like Friday. And I don't know, I'm just going to play it by ear. Either I'll bike a couple of days, or I'll just take some days off, depending on what the weather allows. Maybe I'll go to the gym. We'll see about that. Maybe. But that's kind of what I'm thinking. All right. I'm going to scroll down. Sorry if I missed any of you guys. If you have questions or anything like that, feel free to repeat them in here. Sean Devlin says, like, Fudgy the Whale. Yeah, the Fudgy the Whale cakes were so good. Anything that's in that kind of family of just ice cream cake, so delicious. One time my wife made ice cream cake, and it took like 2 days to make it because she made the ice cream, then she made like the cookie filling part for the frosting. She made everything. It took so long, and I ate like the whole thing in like 30 minutes. But yeah, it was so good. It was so good. So that's what I want to do. I want to eat an entire ice cream cake. Sean Evans says, those commercials when I was a kid, he loved them. LOL. Awesome. Eric said that the 2 days rest is a smart minimum after a full 26.2. He says he was wiped after the trail one in Salida. Well, that's quiet. Did I know that you were in Salida? I think I did. That's the one. Did you guys see Serious Runner out there? I don't know if Sage and Sandy were out there, but I thought Serious Runner ran that one. So, But that looked like a nice course. Dad Runner says, I need a foam roll. I have a foam roller. It's way in the top of the closet. I also have like massage guns. I've got everything, but right now I'm not like very much in the mood for recovery tools. I'm happy just putting my feet up on the couch and working on videos and just eating cake. So I'm like very unmotivated to do anything. And every time I get up and I make myself another cup of coffee, I'm like, I really should be drinking like 3 to 4 electrolyte drinks a day, getting sugars back in, making sure the electrolytes go back into balance, all this stuff. And I'm just like, I can't be bothered. So like, I need the motivation. But I'm also like, I always rush back into another training block right away. This time, I'm not going to rush. I'm going to take it really nice and easy. So, Eric says, don't live in Salida. Serious Runner did the half, as Sandy did. Eric did the full Monty and then destroyed him in a fun way. That sounds awesome. I think Salida's still at elevation, isn't it? And there's certainly mountains in the area, so very cool. Very cool. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Eric says, some people hate it, but I'm partial to the Tailwind recovery drink. Easy to mix, and I feel super charged right after. I've had the Tailwind, all the Tailwind ones, they have a funny the recovery drinks have a funny aftertaste to me. There's something about them that tastes kind of like I've had like a chocolate one, and it tasted like there was something like wrong with the chocolate. It made me think like, oh, did the cocoa butter go rancid in this or something? There was just something off about it that didn't taste right. And it was always very gritty. I like Tailwind's regular drinks, but the recovery drink I always just felt like was something a little bit off about it. But I suppose at this point, me drinking anything is better than nothing. But right now, the only recovery drink that I have like a packet of, I have 2 things that I don't like in the house right now, recovery thoughts wise. The 2 things that I have are like a single serve packet of the Noon Recovery, but it's that blackberry one, the one that I think tastes terrible. So I've got that. I like there's like a lemonade one that I like. It also has a funny taste, a very funny taste to it, and a weird texture. But I like that one. The black, like it's like a black raspberry one or something like that. I don't like that one. I have a little single serve of that. And then the other thing I still have that spicy chocolate protein drink. Remember we tried that on the live stream a little while ago? Those are the two things that I have. So like I have just no desire to try either. All right. Dad Morale says the eFuel Energy and UCAN Energy Performance are the go-tos. All right. I'm saving those e-gels for next Monday, Al. So I'm going to try those on the live stream next Monday for the mukbang, I think. So hopefully I'll be more recovered by then. But if not, those will give me a little bit of a boost. Chris says, I've become accustomed to the odd tasting Tailwood recovery mixes, mainly because they work so well for me. I mean, I think that like if I were making a recovery drink, I would not want it to taste like a chocolate. I would not want it to taste like Hershey's chocolate milk. I would want it to have like a weird signature, like kind of oddness to it, because I think that once your body senses it, it remembers it. That's why like the ones that I love the most all taste a little bit funny. But the Tailwind funny doesn't suit me well, I think. The Noon Recovery oddness like suits me well. I look forward to it. The Unived Recovery, really odd with all that turmeric. I really look forward to that one. So like those are some things that I wish I had in the house now. Maybe I should order some. Eric says about that Salida marathon, it was 7,000 to 9,000 feet with 4,000 feet of vertical gain. That is a lot. That's a lot of height to be at. I was watching a Sweat Elite video last night. One from Zane Robertson. We got to meet over the weekend. And where he lives in Kenya, he was just going on a run. It was like a 30K run, starting like from his house and just going up a mountain and back. And he got to like 3,300 meters, which I think is like over 10,000 feet. And I'm like, at 10,000 feet, at 2 miles up, almost 2 miles up. That's just unfathomable. I'm like, is there even air up there? And he was running hard. I mean, he wasn't, you know. Any running at that elevation, I think, is hard. But running at, I mean, like, that's one I think, I mean, I guess when you think about 14ers too in Colorado, like, just mind-boggling. Doesn't even make sense to me. I have a hard time with it. I was looking at my Strava post from the LA Marathon, and it said that I got 1,000 feet of gain over the course of the marathon. Now, a marathon is very different than a trail marathon. But I feel like for a road marathon, 1,000 feet is a lot. It's a lot of gain. So I was like, oh. But you know, then last night I was also watching the replay, the live stream of the New York City half. You know, and they're talking about how hilly it is and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I'm ready now to start not only looking at flat, fast, or downhill courses. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love a good downhill course. I love downhill courses, I think, more than the next person. I think I'm above average in terms of my affinity for downhill courses. But I think I'm going to stop being so afraid after having experienced LA now. Not to say that I conquered it or even did it very well. But now that I've just done it, I'm like, okay. I'm not going to be afraid if I get to run New York or when I get to run Boston. Not to say that those will be PR courses, but I'm also not afraid of them. You know what I mean? So I think it was really good for me to be able to run this LA race. And then hopefully I'll be able to do some trail races this summer where I'll be able to get that kind of gain and just more exposure to some altitude and some different stimuli, you know? All right. Dennis Cheek says, Felicidades on your PB. Thanks so much, Dennis. Welcome. Good to see you again. I love those sunglasses in this photo over here. It looks intense. Awesome. All right. Let me scroll down and catch up to you guys. Martha says, Kofuzi, Boston will be way easier than LA. You know, I was looking at it, and you guys will hear me talk about it in the race recap tomorrow, but there's a part that I cut out that I'll tell you about now. I cut it out because I got the facts on it wrong. So at the end of, I was looking at, I think I was looking at either Colin Benny or CJ. I think I was looking maybe Colin Benny or CJ Albertson's last year, their Strava for the Boston Marathon. And I'm looking at Heartbreak Hill, and it's like 80 feet in like a quarter mile or half a mile or something like that. It's a pretty big hill in comparison. In not that much shorter of a distance, like Mount Roosevelt, the end of the Chicago Marathon is like 25 feet. Right, so this is a lot bigger than that. It's at mile 20 of the Boston Marathon, and everyone kind of fears it. The last big hill in LA happens at like mile 20. There are still many hills after that too, but like the last big one is a mile long, and it's about 100 feet. So I'm like, oh, well, okay. I've experienced that. It was soul crushing. It definitely crushed my spirit, but I'm like, all right. I've experienced that. Now I'm ready to tackle some other hills. So that's kind of like, you know, where I'm trying to like gain some positivity from the experience of like, I've been through just as bad before, you know, so as I go into it. Ray Run says, LA was tough. I definitely underestimated the hills. I did too. You know, I went in thinking, you know, I looked at it and I think I saw someone else's LA Marathon Strava from like last November, the first time they had it on the new course. And they were like, it looked like it had about like 950 or 1,000 feet of gain throughout the course of the race. And I was like, oh, I think that's the same amount of gain that CIM had. And, you know, everyone talked about how CIM is a net downhill, but there's plenty of rollers in the race. And I'm like, well, if it's the same amount of uphill as CIM, I think I'll be okay. And then I ran the course and I was like, well, this felt a lot harder than CIM. And then I went to look back at it last night, and my Strava for CIM showed of like 600 feet of total gain. So 600 versus 1,000, you know, it's not that crazy different, but it's enough to make you notice it. Louis said some of the hills in LA are very long and wasn't expecting it. Yeah, for sure. Like, the thing about it is there's plenty of hills that in other races would be considered the big hill. But because LA Marathon has like several hills that are like so there's two at mile 4. There's one that's like a half mile long, and then another one that's a little bit more than a half mile long. And you go up, down, up real fast. And then there's not that big one at mile 20. And they're just really, really long. And then there's a huge downhill that's about a mile long as well. And it's kind of too steep to be comfortable. And so like there's just really, really long elevation changes, just constant. And yeah, it just makes it so that any of the other hills that are on there like just don't even get noticed. But they're there. I remember feeling them. And there seems to be a lot of them all the way at the end of the race too. That's where like a lot of them seem to be. Yeah, and Adam says, Boston, it's not the uphills, it's the downhills leading into Newton that will do you in. I mean, that could be said very much for this LA course too, because there's that first 5K that was so fast. But it's so downhill that it's like, I'm either going to jam myself up slowing down, or I'm going to jam myself up going too fast. So there's no right answer, I guess. The hills are just going to chew you up a little bit. Martha says that Heartbreak Hill isn't that steep, but it's when it comes, yeah. Mm-hmm. And she thinks it's about a half mile. That's what I think. I think about 0.4, 0.5. What did I say before? A quarter of a mile? No, I think 0.4 is what I remember. I think you're right. And Leona says that Nell Rojas talked about the Boston course on the latest Morning Shakeout, the podcast. It's a good listen. I saw that pop up today. I'm very much behind on all my podcasts. I haven't been listening to very much. And I've been listening to How She Did It, the book that Molly Huddle wrote with, I forget the other author. I didn't realize that the book was a collection of stories by other female, like I just was like, all right, Molly Huddle helped write a book, or is one of the authors on a book, I'll buy it. And then I didn't realize what it was, but it's been really great to listen to. So that's been taking up a lot of my audio listening time lately. But I definitely have so many podcasts that just came out in the last couple of weeks that I want to listen to. That's definitely on it. Matt Cornero, what's going on, Matt? It's good to see you at the race. He says, I feel like the wind got me as much or more than the hills, just a constant drain. Yeah, there was wind too. And Forrest and Jimmy definitely helped out with that at the end. They kept trying to like stand in front of me so like they would block the wind. It didn't always work because the wind would just keep changing directions, but it always managed to be a little bit of a headwind. So that was tough. That was certainly tough. The wind was not kind that day. And it was surprising. Like we were at the Dodger Stadium, before the race started, and I'm looking out and I see all the palm trees just like swaying like crazy. And I'm like, I didn't think it ever got windy in Los Angeles. I'm like, it is windy right now. It's crazy windy. I don't really remember even really noticing the wind though until like right around at the halfway point, maybe mile 16, that around that area. That's when I started noticing it. And I think it's because of the way that the streets were. The wind was just funneling a lot. Stevie 76 that there's no wind last year. I really want to run LA again. I'd like to take another crack at it. Maybe even run it a little bit more leisurely next year and try to. I feel like there was an area where I saw some Oscar statues, like the tall ones, like the life-size ones. I mean, not life-size because life-size is this, but the human-sized ones. But like, and I saw like the Beverly Hills sign. I think I saw like the Laugh Factory. But I don't remember seeing like, other than like a couple of things, like out of the corner of my eye, I didn't see anything. Like I just felt like I ran a bunch. So like, I think I'd like to slow it down and have a little bit more fun and run it again next year. The only thing is it's in March. So that means I'd have to train through the winter in Chicago. So like, I'd have to like secure a more reliable treadmill situation if I'm going to do another spring marathon. Because it's one thing to like be outside and run in the winter. I love it. But to like try and do like mile repeats is like, it's a lot of work in the winter in Chicago. Ray Run says, mile 16 was the beginning of the end for me. I knew the wheels were going to fall off, LOL. You know what? Though, like the thing that I noticed is when I run Chicago, from like mile 20 and onward, you're running through a lot of boulevards, and the boulevards have like this giant grassy median in the middle. And a lot of the LA course kind of had that too, like a grassy median in the middle of a larger road. In Chicago, when I get towards the end of the race, the course is littered with people who are like stretching, laying down, walking, vomiting, all sorts of things, trying to get themselves back up on their feet and moving again. I didn't see very much of that in this race. So I don't know if it was just timing wise.Maybe I just didn't see it because I didn't see much of anything, I think. Except for a piñata, which I'm glad I saw the piñata. And a unicorn and a shark. So I saw those things, but I didn't see much of anything else. So I didn't see too many people struggling too bad. It seemed like everyone was having a really good day. Except, not that I had a bad day, but I just felt like everyone was like racing ahead of me. Yeah, Midlife Runner has the opposite problem that I have up here because he's in Texas. I have to train in the Texas summer for the Chicago Marathon. Yeah, that's going to be tough. Like, I don't know. What's tougher? Trying to do mile repeats in a Chicago winter for a spring marathon, or trying to do mile repeats in Texas summer for a fall marathon? I think both are pretty terrible. All right. Oh, Stevie76 says LA has an ordinance on vomiting. Does it really? Well, I'm glad I didn't vomit on the course. I came close a couple times. Yeah, there was a couple times where I was like, what? Like the second to last aid station that I got water at, you could see it for a brief second in the video. I didn't intentionally put it in there, but it kind of got into the clip anyway. I drank the water and it kind of a little bit went down the wrong pipe, and I was like, whoa, like coughing for a little while. I was like, oh, ah. My body was just not happy for a minute. So I almost lost it right there. That was one place. Yeah. All right. So we had a couple of questions. Someone asked earlier about the new Insta360 that was announced today. I didn't see the announcement, but they did reach out to me. They're sending me one to test out. I should be getting it soon. They were like, I don't know what they said. They framed it as something along the lines of like having enough units to distribute for like the media, like the launch. I interpreted it as like supply chain issues. So they're like, we couldn't get you one early, but we have a couple extra right now that we can, or we have a couple now that we can send. Do you want to take a look at it? So I was like, yeah, send it. And then, so I should be arriving soon. So I think when I go to DC, it's one that I'll bring. The new 360 camera, I think is it the R2? So it's the interchangeable lens camera that, or the modular 360 camera that Insta360 made. And I think the big changes to it is not the 360 part, but it's the larger sensor part. So that'll be interesting to take a look at. I've taken a look at some of the specs, and I have some things that I'm very excited about. It looks like a lot of the qualms I had with the GoPro style camera on it that I didn't like in the first version seem to be resolved, at least in terms of workflow. It seems like the sensor is going to be bigger than the one that I had. So I'm looking forward to all that. They promised really good low light performance, so we'll certainly put that to the test. But I'm a little bit worried. I don't think it's 4K 120 frames per second. I think at 4K it caps out at 60. I'll have to double check. So there's some things that I was like, I'm not sure about some of this other stuff. So we'll test it out. I'll probably just bring it as my camera for the weekend in DC and see how that one goes. All right, the next question that I'll get to is Eric Bright Nicholson says, any interest in the Intreo-based trail shoe? Pre-orders just opened. I should be getting mine soon. So I just talked to Michael over the weekend, I think, or emailed with him, and he's going to be sending me a pair. I want to say that the pair that I'm getting is not the production version, which I'm not a huge fan of that generally. But he said that there's like, it's a difference of material in the heel cup. And I'm like, oh, okay, fine, then just send it. Because like when I got the Artist, I got a different plate than what ended up being produced. And so like it makes it hard for me to like review it then. The plate that I had was a millimeter thinner than the final production plate. But I think for the trail shoe that I got coming, I think it's pretty much almost the same, except for the material swap in the heel cup. I don't think that it's going to affect rigidity. So as far as my testing goes, I don't think it should be a substantial difference or even a noticeable difference. So yeah, I've seen pictures of it. I got to hold it. I don't know how early in the production it was. When we were all in Baltimore over the summer, Michael was up there. And he showed it to the Believer in the Run team, and I got the chance to see it. And I've been very excited for a long time. So it'll be interesting to see. I haven't seen any pictures of the final yet, but at the time that I saw it, he had a couple of different outsole patterns that he was bouncing between, and they all looked really good to me. So I'm really excited to test it out. So I've got a lot of trail shoes to test. I got to test that. I've got the Speedgoat 5, I got the Tecton X. I need to get in touch with there's someone that I've been meaning to collaborate with that I wanted to do like a collab run with on some of the Hoka shoes. So like I got to reach out to that person and figure out a time to go, but April's just going to be so crazy. So we'll see when I can get it done. So hopefully I'll be able to get all those shoes tested out soon. All right. Sorry, I've been just just rambling on for a little bit. Jackie's here. What's going on, Jackie? Says, hey, Kobe, congrats on crushing the LA Marathon. Let's go CIM one more time. I think I'll be at CIM. That's my plan right now. I don't have anything booked yet. But if I don't run it, I'll definitely just go and hang out for the weekend, because I just think that was a really fun event to go to. Extremely efficient, very well run. The only hard thing is that it's a point-to-point course, so if you're spectating, it makes it really difficult to do and follow people from multiple locations. But we'll see. Maybe if my cousin is going up, we can team up or something like that. So I'll definitely, not definitely, but I'm currently planning on doing that for this year. Lewis is saying that new Insta360 camera is the One RS, not the One R2, RS. So yeah, I should be getting it soon. I think it's supposed to arrive. I thought it was supposed to arrive yesterday. I gotta go check my packages, so we'll see. Leona says, you BQ'd twice now for Boston 2023. Yeah, now I am 9 minutes and 11 seconds ahead of cutoff. So I feel like if I don't get in this year, people are in trouble. If you need, as a 40 to 44-year-old, if you need better than a 3 hours and 49 seconds, that's gonna be a tough cutoff for the day. So, all right. Andrew says that his photo and video sublist all dropped into 360 RS videos today. McKinnon, Potato Jet, etc. Oh, that's exciting. But now it's like, I got to compete against those guys. I like it when they don't get the cameras that I review. All right, that's going to be tough. But I'll try not to watch theirs too much. I've been watching a lot of Potato Jet's videos lately. I've been binging them the last couple of weeks because I hadn't watched in a while. I know he kind of took a little bit of a break, but I've been catching up. That's one person that I would have loved to have been able to meet while I was in LA. There's a lot of people that I wanted to meet in LA. It's LA. Everyone's there, right? But yeah. Adam wants to know if I'm going to review the Hero. I've been meaning to review the Hero for 3 years. Every year I'm like, oh, that Hero, it looks so good. It always looks like a fun shoe to run in. The designs are amazing. And I feel like it's not like a super technical shoe. It's not like an Innovate or a Solomon shoe where I just don't have trails available to me that I feel like I really need them. The Hero seems like it's right up my alley. And every year I never end up getting it. So maybe this year I'll just go buy it and get it to make sure I do it this year. But already I've got, I'm still finishing up the Peregrine and the Adidas Terex. And then if I'm reviewing the Speed Goat, Tecton, the Trail Base, that's 5 trail shoes already this year. And then if we add the Hero to it, that's all my trail shoes. I don't really need much more. I don't run that much trail. So, yeah. Eric says about that, though, he looks like he's going to wait for the Speed Goat 5s, but he does love the new Ultra Timps. Yeah, I don't know. I was very excited about the Ultra Trail shoes when I saw them at TRE. And then now I just think I'm starting to get overwhelmed with the running calendar. And I'm like, I don't know how much trail running I'm going to be able to do. I need to do a lot of trips. If I want to review trail shoes, I feel like I just don't know if I'm going to get to any of those. And that's disappointing because I want to look at some more of those. Cody says, I need to go down and do the Disney Marathon. The only hills are on off-ramps. Yeah, I'd love to do a Disney race. So, that would make it easy, because then I could just combine it with a family trip, So, but those sell out fast, it seems like. And, my family's never ready to commit early enough. Although, I suppose if I was guys, next January, let's do Disney, they'd probably be like, okay. I'm probably the weak link in that chain, so maybe I just need to make it priority. Rodrigo Lupatini says, first, congratulations on the race. It's amazing to watch the battle. Second, after exertions like the LA Marathon, do you often get headaches? I had a headache immediately afterwards. I got woozy. And then after that, I just felt really tired. I chugged a bottle of water. I think I was just really thirsty. And then I kind of like waddled for a little while just to keep moving. And then after that, I felt like short of breath through the rest of the entire day. Like just sitting at the airport, I just felt like I was panting. Like I just couldn't get enough air. And just sitting around after the race, like I just couldn't get enough air. Everything was exhausting. Just like taking a shower was exhausting. Packing my suitcase was exhausting. But I didn't get headaches. One of the things that I realized when I was in LA is I don't know what it was about LA. Is like it's not a city at elevation, but I mean I don't know if it was like the hills or the lots of the elevators that I was taking or what. But like I just felt like if I looked at my phone too much, I would just start getting headaches during the day. I think that's what was bothering me. I don't think it's just looking at the phone because normally I look at my phone all the time, but I think it was like the combination of like looking at the phone in an elevator, and then in an Uber when there's lots of like little hills, you know, that just like kept making me like mini motion sick, and I'm very susceptible to motion sickness. So I think that was like the headaches that I was getting. Taking a nap, you know, was usually the solution for it though. Martha says, Mike, you will get in easily to Boston. 747 was the biggest in history and only because of the 1/3 smaller field. Oh, really? Okay. I didn't know that was why it got so much smaller. I remember, yeah, that year was crazy. Brendan says, man, I want cake. What flavor and icing combo is it? Well, it's buttercream mixed with very different, a lot of different colors. So it's all just one flavor of icing, and it's just chocolate sheet cake, which is like my favorite kind. Just plain, not that chocolate cake is ever plain, but it's just chocolate cake. I like it pretty straightforward. It's pretty delicious, I gotta tell you. Nice and puffy, you know, like it's not quite like angel food cake, but just the way my wife makes it. She makes it nice and airy, which is what I like. I don't like it when a cake feels very dense. Like when it's closer to like pound cake, then I'm just like, nah, I'm not as interested in this. I'm like, can I dunk this in my coffee? Kind of thing. So when it's nice and airy, that's when I feel like it's really nice. See, now we're getting to the end, and there's a lot of frosting at the back part. I think I'm just gonna avoid some of that. It's just too much frosting. But for the rest of the cake, the ratio of cake to frosting was really good. Adam says, with all those trail shoes, Leadville is calling. I think that I do want to try and film a trail race this year. I don't know which one or how. And I'm already probably several months late in terms of the planning to be able to do it well. But I mean, it might just be like a go out and have a fun weekend kind of thing. And see if I get media credentials to chase some runners around kind of thing. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Jackie UI says, when did the 1080 version 11s go on sale? And when are the 12s getting released? Waiting to stock up. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's got to be soon, because I think I just saw, I know Believe in the Run put out their review. I think I saw, did Ginger Runner just put out a review? I think I've seen several people put out reviews for the version 12s. I don't have them yet. I don't think they're sending them to me. But I'm happy to buy them. I'm really interested to see what they did with the 12. I think it looks great. I think it looked better than the 10 and 11. Because the 10 and 11 certainly looked odd. The 12 looks more like an Adidas shoe than a New Balance shoe to me. But with like the 880 over here and then the Fresh Foam more over here, that 1080, I'd like, where does it fit? I'm not really sure. But, you know, I'm trying to like understand shoe lineups these days in terms of like, they don't all have to fit. They can be like 1080 might be the people that want a little bit of 880 and a little bit of more version 3 and don't care that the other two exist, you know? So like shoes can stand completely on their own or within an overall lineup. Either one is completely fine as long as people are liking it and buying it, you know? And the 1080 version 11, I did not like as much as the 1080 version 10. So I'm trying to look at it a little bit fresher this year. And not necessarily as it has to be a good max cushion or it has to be a good daily. I'm just going to be like, do I like it? And then if I do, when am I liking it the most, you know? So I'm very excited for it. But I'm also I'm trying not to have any preconceived notions about it going in other than I think it looks like a solar boost. Austin Harling says, congrats on the PR. Do you think if you knew your pace the whole time, like you would on a tread, you could have made a sub 3 hour? I think so. Either that or I would have like gone down in a much more glamorous ball of flames. So like I talk about it a lot in the race recap, but I had no idea how close I was until the end. Like I really thought that like when I thought that by the time Floris and Jimmy had gotten to me, that I was like already well beyond being able to get anywhere near close to 3 hours. So like I don't know what time I thought it was, but I felt like it's already past 3 hours. Like why are we running hard? So like I was just I had like $1,000 in running technology that I was wearing, and yet I was just like I just wish that there was an on-course clock. Because I was just like, my mind couldn't process any of the information that the technology was telling me. Or the information that Floris was telling me. I just didn't believe him. I thought he was tricking me. So it was a weird feeling. It was a very weird feeling. Oh, good question. Shannon says, if Floris and Coach Jimmy hadn't been with me the last 3 miles, what do you think your finishing time would have been? Just curious. I think it would have been right around 3:05. I think I just would have like cruised in like 8 minute, 7:30, 7:45, maybe 8 minute miles the rest of the way. So like, you know, well, maybe close to 3:02 and a half, 3:03 and a half, somewhere in that area. I just wouldn't have pushed as much as I did without them there. Because like mentally I'd already checked out for sure. Stevie saying, what do I think about a potato jet versus Hez Kicks marathon? Like in terms of like watching a bunch of videos or if they raced one. But I could watch both of their channels for a really long time. That'd be fun. I mean, that'd be a really weird collab video. Can you imagine if like it was like me, Potato Jet, and Hez Kicks in a video? I don't know how that video works, but I don't know. That'd be really weird. That'd be fun. Or, I mean, more realistically, if there was a Potato Jet Hez Kicks collab video, that'd be better. That would work. Adam says, if I want to film, come to San Francisco the second weekend in June and film the Dipsea. All right, so I do have a little bit more information on my calendar. It's still, things aren't in pen yet. Things are still in pencil, but they're really penciled in pretty firm. June, I think it's June. I forget which month, but there's some travel that's coming up. So now I can actually I have to remember what the dates are. I don't remember what the dates are off the top of my head. I don't know if I can talk about it yet, but I'm starting to get some more dates planned out. I know the last time we talked about dates and stuff, a lot of that wasn't even finalized or firm or even near firm, but things are firming up. And yeah, so I think the next video that I make, so the race recap video will probably be tomorrow's video. I know I said I was going to come out today, but I think I'm going to try to really make it a little bit more less rambly and a little bit more well put together. So I'm at 31 minutes now, and not to say that just cutting stuff makes it better, but really making sure that everything's really says what I want it to with as little fluff as possible or filler. So I'll have that one come out tomorrow. And I think the next video I have after that will be like my next race calendar. And that'll take me through like June. So I'm trying to think. For June, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be into Grandma's. I have to double confirm that. Grandma's is another ASICS race. So I think they're going to help me get I think I can still register for it, but I think they're going to get me a bib. So I think I'm pretty sure I'm going to do Grandma's. I think there's a half marathon at Grandma's, and I'm kind of like, maybe I should just run the half because I'm feeling very tired right now. But I'm like, maybe I shouldn't decide right now. Because that'll be fun. Point-to-point race, net downhill course along Lake Superior. You know, I feel like water, I always feel stronger when I'm near the water. So, I don't know that I'll make another sub-3 attempt. It seems very soon for that. And I'm not sure. I'm just not sure I can continue training that hard. Because I've been basically training from like Chicago. Chicago was kind of a hard training block. But training for CIM and then into originally training for Tokyo. So like I got real tired at the end, but towards the end of this training block. So we'll have to see. But I should be out. And I think maybe Grandma's is the weekend after, the third weekend in June, I want to say. But maybe I'll be able to get out there. But I'm thinking probably not. Ooh, Lewis, it says, thoughts on the Carmel Marathon, generally flat and close by for me. Ooh, that's an interesting one. I like racing in Indianapolis area. I think that'll work. Maybe. What to see. I mean, I'm not like really, like I'm very interested in and very motivated to like chase after that sub-3. It's like something like I really just want to like check off the list, But it's also not something where I'm like, ooh, like what race? Like sometimes, the night of the race, you're like, all right, what races are coming up soon? And you're like on the internet and you're like typing it up and you're like, where can I go? I'm not feeling that. So I'm just very happy with how LA went. And I think I'm a little bit tired. And so like, I don't know if maybe the next like sub-3 attempt is CIM in December. There's a lot of other races that I want to do. And I don't know that I want to be in marathon training mode for like this entire year. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So. Mark says, I do have a question for today. As I start ramping back up the mileage with the warm weather, I have some nagging shin splints. I'm doing the usual stretching and foam rolling, but any tips or tricks? I would say if it's still like in a pretty like, if it's nagging, that's been going on for a little bit, I would say just try and spend some time, if you're not into hard training yet, on softer surfaces. So like if you're on a asphalt path, but there's like a packed dirt section or a grassy section that you can run on, try to get on the dirt. If you have an option between concrete versus asphalt, go for the asphalt. Asphalt or blacktop's like a little bit, just a tiny bit softer. I might reach for a little bit taller stack height of shoes. Then you might like whatever is the taller stack height ones in your closet that you have, like a 1080 version 11 or 12, that kind of shoe. Or like for me, like a Fresh Foam or 3 or Bondi X was like really great to have for kind of like recovery days when I wanted to be just easy on the body. So I would say kind of like look for those and make sure your easy days really are easy. So those are some of the things that I would look for. Otherwise, like, if they're bothering you, like when you're done with running, then what works great for me is a heating pad. I know a lot of people like to ice their shin splints, but that ice is always so messy in my opinion and uncomfortable. But like if I'm just sitting down and I can put a heating pad on the shin splints, that always just really relaxes me. So I like, those are the things I don't know if I'm not a physical therapist, so I don't know, but those are the things that seem to really be comforting for me. All right. Strokes 8 says, Congrats on the PR. Sorry if I missed, but do you have a next race scheduled yet? Yes, I do. This will be a good place to end it for today. In 2 weeks, or less than 2 weeks, in 2 Sundays, I'll be in Washington, D.C. doing the Cherry Blossom 10 Mile. I believe the Believe in the Run crew will be up there too. So I'll be able to see those guys. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm going to be going down not my family, like not like my wife and my kids, but my sister might come down. Or my parents might come down. They're thinking about it because it's not that far for them to get down to DC. So it might be kind of like nice to see some other family. But I'll be there for that week. It's the first weekend in April. And that Saturday, we'll do a little bit of a shakeout, guys. So just something really informal. We'll run around the mall, the National Mall, like a little bit. And just get a chance to meet some of the DC Kofuzi Run Club members. So I'm really looking forward to that. That'll be the next race. And then like we've been talking about, I will be also I think I'll be doing Grandma's, and I think there'll be some races in between there too. But those are kind of like the close end of the calendar for me and the farther end of the calendar that I can confirm for now, or somewhat confirm for now. So that's kind of what's coming up. But 2 videos from now, I'll do like more of like a firm, like what's coming up for like Q2 for 2022 in terms of racing, where I'll list all that out a little bit more concretely. So, all right, that's going to be it for today, everybody. Thanks everybody for tuning in. And like I said, tomorrow is when I'll get out that race recap, and then we'll do another live stream. Same time as today, 1 p.m. Central Time. Hopefully I'll see you then. And in the meantime, be safe out there, everybody. Thanks.